Good morning, my YouTube friends and family. We are going to share with you where we're at in our garden today. It is July 4th here in the compound, Western Maryland, and it's sunshiny, a little bit of overcast. And I'd like to wish you all happy Independence Day. What a wonderful time it is to reflect on the sacrifices and how we got here as a nation. And I'm truly blessed and truly thankful for today, and we will be celebrating here later on this afternoon with a little bit of barbecue. We did the fireworks the other night, and yeah, we'll do a couple of those today. But let's get into the garden and see where we're at here. Hello, Eric. We're going to do a quick tour here and make a game plan for today. We're going to get into some pressure canning, and we're going to harvest a couple heads of cabbage we got, put them in a pressure canner and can some of those. We're going to pull out a couple of these potatoes. Potatoes, some days they look good, some days not so good, but we're going to get in here and harvest a couple early potatoes. We got some celery I'm going to get into. We're going to make some stew. We're going to can some stew and a couple other things. There's Mama's garden tomatoes. They was hurting there for a little bit. We sprayed them with some neem oil, see what was happening. This is a couple of those. We got more in the no-dig garden. The garlic is about ready to harvest. Oh, look, we done pulled one out there. That's the one I whacked off with the weed whacker the other day. But potatoes, we got a couple rows of potatoes. Like I say, we're going to pull a couple of those. The beans look pretty good. We got some beans out for dinner last night, and there's not a whole lot on there, but they're coming. And we did go through and put some garden poles in there and tied them up with some string. They was getting pretty heavy, but yeah, we got a couple beans starting. These are the yellow beans. We got a few in there. Yellow beans. We got some green beans up here. They're starting to pop out. Mama's got her snap peas here. They're looking pretty good. Got a couple on there starting. We put in some Kentucky pole beans. Got them in late. I thought I was ahead of everything, but then once we started planting, man, we fell behind. But they're starting to shoot up. They're a couple weeks, and then of course we got some rabbits in here chewing off the beans. We put the fence up there for the peas and things that they was getting into last year, but as you can see, they're wreaking havoc on our Kentucky pole beans. So we'll have to keep an eye out on them. Mama's got some pumpkins in here, and I believe she's got some squash as well. So let's go up here and check out what's going on in the upper garden. So up here we got some sweet banana peppers. This is our sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes, we planted those. Whoops, sorry about that. Sweet potatoes, we planted them, but then they kind of fell back. They looked pretty bad, but then they come back. So we haven't weeded in here. The broccoli is done. We got to get in there and clean that tunnel out. We've had multiple harvests. We got about 15 plus pounds of broccoli, and now I'm waiting on my Brussels sprouts. I did enough Brussels sprouts the other night to make dinner, but we're going to get in here and start popping these bad boys off before they start going bad on us. And I'll share the sprout harvest with you. And here's our corn. This is Ambrose on this side. Knee high by July is the old saying that I've always heard, and I just barely made that. But the corn did outbeat the weeds. I'm gonna get in there and weed down through those rows yet sometime today, or maybe this weekend. The second batch of corn will go in here, and I am going to till all that up once more before I plant that. We put a bunch of mushroom mulch and things on this garden this year, and oh man, the weeds are crazy. Here's our potato towers. Some looking good, some not so good. They started out really nice, and I put another board on and more dirt, and another board, more dirt, and they look good, and now, oh, not so much. Poor fellas. But we'll keep an eye on these, and I'll share how these potato towers come out. I have a separate video on how I did all this, but I wanted to get a full season in and see how everything went before I shared it. So carrots are looking pretty good. Got to get in here and get some carrots out because I want to put some of these in the stew that we're going to make. Here's a big one, and it looks big. That's not too bad. So I'll pull a couple of these out, and we'll put them in the stew. The raspberries are doing pretty good. I did whack one of them off yesterday with the weed whacker. That was a real bummer, but they're coming up. We just planted these this year. Our grapes from last year, we are getting a couple little grapes on them. A couple little fruit sets here and there. And we'll keep you posted on the grapes. The grapes is something new for us. We planted them a couple years ago. We didn't have, some of them didn't come up. We replanted them. So we'll see how they all go, and we'll keep you posted on that. We figured grapes would be a couple year fruit, so we got a ways to do on the grapes. Berry patch didn't do very well this year. This is the second year for the blueberries, and what berries we did get on that one, the birds got. But the new plants are looking pretty good. That was a raspberry plant we planted this year. Got to get it up. That's an older blackberry plant that we did 2 years ago, and then I thought I killed it last year. It come back. But the new blueberries are looking pretty good, the plants. The old blueberries, not so much. I got to do a little research on how to pump them up a little bit. But here's a couple more of the carrots. I did carrots in some containers this year as well, besides the tub. And I'll get in there, like I said, and pull a couple of those just for some of the stew. They're not real big, but they'll be delicious. Let's go in here and check out the no-dig garden. Flowers are popping out. There's the black-eyed Susan. We did have to tie them up, man. They fall down all over the place every year. So we got a couple flowers coming up. We have a couple volunteers that come back from last year, and we just let them go. Asparagus, oh yeah, look at that. We had to tie it up, but we have been eating off it as well. There's still little ones coming up down in there. So when we see them down in there, we'll snap a couple off and have them for dinner. Swiss chard is going crazy. We're going to get some of that out for the stew. Mama's got some squash down here up against the fence, and some cantaloupe, or I'm sorry, some cucumbers that we're going to try to get going here. Over here we got the celery. It was our first year for celery, and I've had some of this, and it's pretty good. They say to wrap this cardboard around it to blanch the celery so it's not bitter. But I'll show you up here at the top. I have eaten some of this celery and it's not bad as it is, but we're going to harvest this in a couple weeks, so I did put some on there. Our candy onions, they're turning out pretty good. They're bulbing up nice. We've had a couple of these as well for in the soup and some other things, dinner. We have our tomatoes. This here is a chocolate pear. We're getting some nice fruit sets on it. The beefsteak's looking pretty good. We've had tomatoes here a couple years, and it's really nice. We're not actually, this is our first year to get fruit sets like this. Now it might be the type of tomato. That's a cherry tomato. Here's a pineapple. I'm excited to try some of these, I call them exotic tomatoes. Ones that I'm not familiar with, the chocolate and the pineapple. There's Early Girl, getting a nice fruit set on her. And then another beefsteak. So our indeterminate tomatoes are coming out pretty good. We've had some volunteers for these as well, and we just let them go. Our red and white onions are coming out pretty good. We're getting some nice sized bulbs on those. Some of them's bigger than others, but we've harvested off these as well periodically for dinners and different things. But they're looking pretty nice. They still got a little bit of growing to do. Here's the upper celery patch, and I did go through and start putting the cardboard on those to start blanching them. But like I say, I've eaten some of this celery. This celery here, the leaves are kind of turning a little weird on me. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, but my plan with these is I'm going to go ahead and harvest these off and put them in the stew that we're going to do later this weekend. But I've eaten this without blanching it, and they're really tasty. And up top here we have Mama's paste tomatoes. Now we had always done Roma, and Roma really did well for us. But Mama changed the recipe this year, so we're not sure how these are going to come out. Now these are all paste tomatoes, and some of them are fruit setting like this, which is what I'm used to seeing with the Romas. But then others are fruit setting like this. I'm not sure what's going on. Now there is two different kind of paste tomatoes here. One is a garden tomato, and then the other one is an Amish paste tomato. So that may be the difference on the fruit sets as well. But these are the same way. Some of them's looking good, but the leaves don't look very healthy to me. But we are getting some fruits, which is always good. Yeah, the garden tomatoes. There's a garden paste, and that's a different kind of looking fruit set on that. But we are getting some fruit on them, so I guess that's the important thing. So here's what happened with our cauliflower. I think we let it go too long, but it's initially it was down in there, white, nice little bright white head, beautiful. But gardening is very time consuming, and if you don't keep up on it, it's not going to work out for you. And of course in a day there's only so many hours, but we'll get this head of cabbage here today. That's nice and ready. And we did get a lot of broccoli out of here. So we are going to harvest this head of cabbage, and we're going to can it. We got another one over in this other tunnel. We'll check him out. Haven't looked in there in a while. But we're going to clean these beds out sometime this weekend and get ready for the next planting. So here we go in this one. Now we have harvested a couple heads in here, but this is what's happening. Something's in there and having a feast. We do have a couple other heads here we're going to harvest out today. Oh, there's a beauty. I'm a little man, but that's still a pretty big head. And we've harvested, like I say, a couple times out of here. We got 3-4 heads out of here already. And we'll get these out today and get this bed cleaned up and ready for the next planting. Here's what's left of the kale patch. We'll be cleaning this up today as well. Kale did wonderful for us this year. We've been harvesting off of it for at least a couple months now. And we love kale, so this was well planted and got a lot of harvest off of it. Alright, here we go. We got, almost forgot, we got some cantaloupe planted on the bank here. Got a couple cantaloupes up through here. And then we got some watermelons. Watermelon up here on the bank. They did well here last year at the bank. So we're just going ahead and there were some late ones I planted. Some crimson sweets. And then we got the cantaloupes down along the fence line here. Looks like they're doing well. So far so good with the cantaloupes. And we got 4 down through there. Getting some flowers on them. Lastly, let's see what Mama's got in her herb garden. We haven't done anything in the herb garden, I don't think. So, yeah, it needs weeded. So what we got here? We got some lavender.
This is still out of control. There's some echinacea hidden back there. Rosemary, 2 little rosemary plants.
Oh yeah, got the little rosemaries.
You know, of course, chamomile's everywhere.
Chamomile is like crazy. What do we got here? Oregano?
Yes.
Oregano and
this is parsley.
Parsley. I can smell that.
And some sage.
Sage. All this one in the soup.
And this is thyme.
And you got basil.
Yeah, I know. One's already flowering, a teeny tiny little one. I don't know what the deal is with that, so I poked it off.
And then the good old chives.
Yeah.
So there you go, my friends. That's what we got going on here in the compound. And as you can see, it is muggy out here. I am sweating like crazy just walking around videoing. So we're going to try to do a little bit of harvesting and get ready for the big canning. Canning's always an all-day chore. So we're going to prepare today and do it on another day, hopefully this weekend, maybe. So until we meet again, my friends, always remember to smile, because God loves you.